warm welcome to GRTS News, broadcasting for viewers in the Gambia and around the world. Our top stories this hour. President Adama Barrow joins prominent Banjulians and orders several Muslims at the King Fahd Mosque in Banjul for the Eid prayers. General Ahmad Nasser Al-Raisi, the Inspector General of the Ministry of Interior of the United Arab Emirates, visits the Gambia to familiarize authorities with his bid for Interpol's top job. The Gambia Navy launches search operations to recover 6 boat engines and over 50 fuel gallons stolen from the Gunjur fish landing site. Over 100,000 doses of the Johnson & Johnson single COVID vaccine donated by the U.S. government arrived in the Gambia, fulfilling President Biden's pledge earlier this year to support poorer nations. A glaring COVID scare loomed over the 2021 Tokyo Olympics 48 hours ahead of its scheduled launch on Friday. Mali's interim president Colonel Assimi Goita, who retook power in June after leading a coup, the second in less than a year, is safe after what his office calls an assassination attempt. Plus, a cholera outbreak in Nigeria's northern state of Jigawa kills at least 30 people. Well, that's the top of the news and much more. Thanks for staying with us. My name is Momodin Jai. It's great to have you here. Let's begin this bulletin with the presidency, as the President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, has joined fellow Muslims at the King Fahd Mosque in Banjul for the Eid prayers. Several prominent Banjulians, high-ranking government officials, including the Vice President, Her Excellency Dr. Aissatou Toure, among other Muslims, filled the King Fahd Mosque grounds for the Islamic feast of Eid al-Adha. Our State House correspondent Momodu Jallo reports.
The Gambia joins the rest of the world to celebrate the feast of Eid al-Adha, locally called Tobaski. In the capital city Banjul, residents converged at the King Fahd Mosque for the congregational prayer. Among them was the President of the Republic, His Excellency Adama Barrow, who arrived at the mosque grounds and was received by members of the Banjul Council of Elders. The Imam Ratib of Banjul, Alhaji Cherno Aliou Maska, later arrived, marking the beginning of the 2 Rakah prayer. The Imam later delivered a sermon describing Eid al-Adha as a blessed moment for Muslims, urging them to deeply reflect on the sacrifice of Prophet Ibrahim, who fulfilled Allah's command. He also called for unity amongst Muslims, urging the faithful to be righteous, God-fearing and peaceful. The President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, also used the opportunity to congratulate Gambians on this very important Islamic holiday.
On this very important celebration, is everybody happy?
After the prayers, the Imam Ratib offered his sacrificial lamb, paving the way for Muslims nationwide to follow suit as prescribed by the traditions of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. A few minutes later, the President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, also offered his sacrifice at the State House, fulfilling one of the most important requirements of the feast of Eid al-Adha. Momodu Jallo, GRTS News.
General Ahmed Nasser Al-Raisi, current Inspector General at the Ministry of Interior of the United Arab Emirates, a career police officer with vast administrative experience in international policing and cybersecurity. General Al-Raisi has arrived in the country this evening on a brief tour of the Gambia to familiarize authorities with his bid for the most coveted position of Interpol President. General Ahmed Nasser Al-Raisi joined the Abu Dhabi Police Force in 1981, quickly rising through the ranks based stellar performance in various security positions. In 2005, he was appointed Director General of Central Operations of the Abu Dhabi Police Department and Interior Ministry, while simultaneously serving as the Director General of the General Administration of E-Services at the Ministry of Interior. A graduate of Otterbein College, Westerville, Ohio in the United States, Coventry and Cambridge Universities in the UK, General Al-Raisi holds a PhD in policing, security and community safety from the London Metropolitan University, UK. Shortly upon arrival at the Banjul International Airport, General Ahmed Nasser Al-Raisi spoke to GRTS's Aissatou Keita about his visit to the Gambia. Here is an excerpt.
We are very happy to be in this beautiful country. This is my first time visiting this part of the world, and I'm really glad to be here and to meet all the officials here. We thank them for the warm welcome. We have very strong relationship between the United Arab Emirates and Gambia, the leadership, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, and also the President here. And we are also coming to listen to you and to listen to the police, and we can do the bilateral cooperation for the best of our two countries, especially in the security areas. Thank you very much for receiving us. Thank you, Your Excellency, for being in the airport today. And this shows the love between the two countries. And also our program will be meeting the high officials here. This is really great, shows also respect and how much the value we have between the also leadership and the people of Gambia and United Arab.
The Inspector General at the Ministry of Interior of the United Arab Emirates, General Ahmed Nasser Al-Raisi, speaking to GRTS's Aissatou Keita on his familiarization tour of the Gambia. And now, some disturbing news coming from Gunjur has it that some youths at the Gunjur fish landing site allegedly broke into several magazines of the Fisher Falls and took about 6 boat machines, over 50 fuel gallons of 35 and 60 liters. The perpetrators are believed to be youths who want to embark on the perilous journey to Spain, as they took along one fishing boat at the landing site. The incident happened on the night of Tobaski, when the place was quiet. The matter was reported to the Gambian Navy, whose personnel quickly responded and embarked on quick operations to see if the alleged perpetrators can be traced anywhere within the waters of the Gambia. Fisher Folks at the Gunjur beach said this is a massive loss for them, as they lost materials that will be worth millions of dollars. There has not been any latest information about the search operations of the Gambian Navy personnel, but GRTS will continue to monitor the developing story and will bring you updates and more detail of the unfortunate incident in our subsequent newscast. As President Joseph R. Biden committed earlier this year, vaccines donated by the American people have arrived in the Gambia. On July 20th, 151,200 doses of Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 single-shot vaccine donated by the United States government arrived in the Gambia. The first tranche in an initial donation of over 304,000 doses. This single-dose vaccine has proven highly effective in preventing serious illness from the COVID-19 virus. We are pleased to partner with the African Union, COVAX, WHO, and UNICEF to support the Gambian government's vaccination efforts led by the Ministry of Health. Sharing these vaccines serves as an example of the importance of the long-standing ties between the Gambian and American governments and people. These are the same safe and effective vaccines that have saved countless lives in the United States. This donation will help protect the Gambian people from the ravages of COVID-19. Given the recent dramatic increase in positive COVID-19 tests, serious illness and death, this donation comes at a critical time for the Gambia. This delivery is only the beginning. We will continue to donate vaccine supply as it is available to us, and we will soon begin delivery on our contribution of 500 million Pfizer doses for distribution by COVAX to countries around the world, including the Gambia. Only by working together and by getting vaccinated can we combat and end the COVID pandemic, said the U.S. Ambassador Richard Carl Pascal. These vaccine doses are part of the Biden-Harris administration's global efforts, commitment to share U.S. vaccine supply with the world, and are on top of the $2 billion provided by the United States to COVAX in April to buy vaccines for distribution. As we continue to fight the COVID-19 pandemic at home and abroad and work to end the world pandemic worldwide, President Biden has promised that the United States will be an arsenal of vaccines for the world. Help the Mentally Disabilities Association, HEMDA, a non-charitable organization, on Wednesday distributed food and water to the Tanka Tanka Psychiatric Hospital and the mentally vagabonds in the streets. The gesture is part of the association's commitment in supporting effective healthcare delivery in the country. The association was formed in December 2020 with support from the First Lady and other philanthropists and has been embarking on such gestures since its start of operations. The delegation, comprised of the President and the Secretary General, as well as other members, were received by the hospital Chief Nursing Officer Daniel Christian Mendy, who expressed high appreciation for the gesture. The Secretary General of the association, Pamo Dufal, explains the motive behind the gesture. Let's take a listen.
We are here today at Tanka Tanka, the Mentally Disability Association, HEMDA the Gambia. This is our first activity as far as the Eid is concerned, Tobaski, to come and see our brothers, sisters at Tanka Tanka here, to support them with a lunch, because we feel that they are part and parcel of society. All of us celebrate Tobaski with our families. We enjoy it together, but these are people also we should also consider. Anytime, we should think about them, that they also need to enjoy what we are also enjoying in our families. So that's why we come up here, and from here also we'll do the same distributions in the streets. Those who are also mentally ill persons, will also go to them to make sure that also they also feel that they are part of this Tobaski celebration. But all these things we have been supported by the First Lady, that is Madam Fatoumata Barbaro. She is the one who supported us to make sure that these people are well catered for. HEMDA is a new association. We don't have the resources, we don't have the money, we only have the human resources, but the rest we don't have it. So as a result of that, the human resource we have, these are the volunteers who came together at least to do the distribution. We would also like to thank the First Lady for the support she has given us. If not her, individually, we do our contributions, but it will be very difficult for us to meet the amount to be here today, at least to help our brothers and sisters who are at Tanka Tanka and who are also in the streets. We would also like to thank the management, Daniel and the team we met at Tanka Tanka here, for the warm welcome they have also accorded to our delegation. We are also here collaborating with also our partners, Mr. J.J. Robinson and others that's doing good deeds. These are also our collaborators. As far as mental health is concerned, we cannot do it alone. HEMDA also collaborate with other associations, similar ones that are doing voluntary work, that are also on humanitarian gestures. As a result of that, that's why we are also collaborating with them.
Pamo Dufal, the Secretary General of the Help the Mentally Disabilities Association, explaining the motive behind the Tanka Tanka gesture. In a similar move, Vision Development Foundation, the brainchild of the philanthropist Modutu Rodabo, has donated close to 1,000 rams to the needy Muslims as part of his annual Tobaski gesture. Louis Mendy was at the foundation's office in Churchillstown, where many turned out to receive their gifts, and he filed in this report.
It's another year, another feast of El Al-Adha, and Modutu Rodabo, the CEO and founder of the Vision Development Foundation, is reaching out to the needy with sacrificial lambs. The Gambian most sought philanthropist is distributing over 1,000 rams across the country. Adama Jeng, the vice chair at the foundation, said over 700 rams were already distributed.
He started since last week doing the distribution in the villages. So some are going to receive here, others are receiving at the coastal road, just near his second residence. There are rams. From starting up to now, last week up to today, we are going to distribute 713 rams. But that is not the end. I'm sure other people will need, and he will also have to venture into making sure that he makes those households happy.
To avoid overcrowding in the face of COVID-19, Modutu Rodabo and his Vision Development Foundation has been doing house-to-house delivery of rams to the needy for over a week now. Mr. Jeng further explained.
During the first month, he distributes thousands of bags of sugar to the needy. During Tamharet also, he would give a lot of bulls. All this he is doing not for anything else, but for the people who are poor, for people who need to be supported, for people who need to be happy on these days. This is why Modu does it. But he doesn't stop there. He is into so many things: provision of water supply, provision of roads, provision of renovation of health centers.
NGO Affairs Program Officer Farmer Jaju, who also benefited from the Turo's donation, said Turo's activities is what is expected of NGOs. Jaju was pleased with Turo's house-to-house distribution of the rams in this period of COVID-19.
Health is very important, and this is why they took up this step to go house to house, deliver it to people, which is very, very effective, according to their director himself rather, realized that actually that's one most effective way of doing things, because they are delivering to the most needy directly without the interference of any other person. One aspect of this is, if you have given it to people and they don't even have money to transport it, that's another cost on them. But if you deliver it to them directly, actually that have lifted the burden.
In Churchilltown, at the Foundation's office and along the Battle Harding Highway in Canifing, beneficiaries of the donation praised Turo for the gesture. Buba Jabi was one of them. Jabi, a husband and a father of 3, is physically challenged. No job, Turo's ram donation will do him some good. Usman Fati is also a beneficiary of the ram package.
When it comes to Ramadan, Modu Turo Dabo, in the whole Gambia, we all see him. He used to give sugar and other items. If you come to Christmas, he will help the Christians too. If you come to Toboski, he will buy ram to give it to the needy people. So we are all thanking Modu Turo Dabo.
For Mustafa Drame, Modu Turo Dabo should be emulated by those with the means to help the needy. Ram sacrificed by Muslims during the feast of Eid al-Adha, also called Tobaski, reflects Prophet Ibrahim's willingness to sacrifice his son Ismail after God had instructed him to do so. It's therefore not about shedding blood to please God, but about giving up something you hold so dear in devotion to God. And as Turo Dabo support the needy to fulfill the desire, eternal reward is his pay. Louis Mendy, GRTS.
Louis Mendy there with that report. Time now to take a quick break. When we return, we'll look at news from outside the Gambia. Do stay with us.
Hello! There's a new update from your favorite GSM operator, africell.
For all of you that have struggled to buy cash power beyond $7,000, africell has done it again. The limit to buy cash power is now up to $30,000. Oh yes, $30,000.
Buy all the cash power you want from your AfriMoney account by dialing *777#.
Where africell goes, nobody dares to follow.
It's an amazing offer. AfriMoney just got way better. The threshold for cash in and cash out on your AfriMoney has been increased.
Where it used to be 10,000 per transaction, now it has been increased to 30,000. Meaning your AfriMoney account, you can now withdraw and deposit up to $30,000 at once.
Cashing in and out just got 3 times easier. For more info, call 777.
Where africell goes, nobody dares to follow.
Welcome back. Mali's interim president, Colonel Assimi Goita, who took power in June after leading a coup, the second in less than a year, is safe after what his office has called an assassination attempt. 2 men, one with a knife, attacked Goita Tuesday after prayers at the Great Mosque of Bamako for the Eid al-Adha festival, known as Tobaski in West Africa.
The attack targeted Goita at Bamako's Grand Mosque. The presidency said in a statement on social media that investigations are ongoing. Goita, a 38-year-old Special Forces colonel, took power in June following a second overthrow of a president in less than a year.
Everything is fine. There is no problem. It is part of being a leader. There are always people who are unhappy. And there are people who at any one time can try and destabilize things to try and isolate actions. It is an isolated case. It was handled. I want to reassure the people that I'm well and there is no problem at all. No one was injured and the situation was handled. Once more, I'm asking the Malian people and our supporters to work together so that we can build this country.
The security forces, the black shirts, the Presidential Security Force, they handle the situation very well.
Outbreak of cholera has killed 30 people in Nigeria's northern state of Jigawa since May. According to an official, more than 2,000 people have been hospitalized in the state in the last 2 months, said Salisu Mwazu, an official of the state Ministry of Health, who confirmed the outbreak to reporters in Dotsi, the state capital, on Monday.
The Ministry of Health in Jigawa State says those who died are patients who tested positive for the disease in 9 local government areas. 7 other cholera-related deaths were recorded in the country's southeastern state of Enugu. The Jigawa state government has directed the release of free drugs to treat the affected. The United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, and a non-governmental organization, Doctors Without Borders, say they are ready to partner with the state to control the spread of the disease. So far, there have been more than 14,000 recorded cases of cholera in Nigeria between January and June this year, with 325 deaths recorded. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control has set up a multi-sectoral National Cholera Emergency Operations Center to ensure a coordinated, rapid, and effective response.
UNHCR, the UN Refugee Agency, is calling for urgent and enhanced measures to protect civilians in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, where a series of recent attacks by an armed group has displaced nearly 20,000 people in North Kivu province. Armed groups continue to devastate civilian lives despite DRC's President Felix Tshisekedi launching a state of emergency on May 6th in North Kivu and its neighboring Ituri province.
Attacks by armed groups in the DRC's eastern territory of Beni have displaced thousands of people since last month. The UN says nearly 20,000 people have been forced to flee to neighboring areas. Many of them are women and children. Congolese officials have blamed the attacks on a militia known as the Allied Democratic Forces. It's an Islamist group that's originally from neighboring Uganda. The UN Refugee Agency is calling on the international community to support the DRC government to protect its people.
There's a need for guns to be silenced in the DRC. And to the rest of the world, obviously, it's not just a question of funding, it's a question of sympathy and solidarity. And solidarity can be shown in so many other ways. So there's a lot that the international community can do as well.
In May this year, the DRC president placed 2 eastern provinces under military rule in an attempt to stop the violence. But attacks against civilians have continued in Ituri and North Kivu provinces. The UN says the illegal exploitation of minerals in those areas has fueled conflict for decades. The insecurity has made it difficult for humanitarian agencies to access the populations in need of assistance. Chris Ochamringa, CGTN, Kinshasa, Democratic Republic of Congo.
Fuel prices are adjusted by the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy on the first Wednesday of every month. And according to CGTN's Angelo Coppola, this is likely to affect the prices of consumer goods and services in South Africa.
The Automobile Association notes that while the slight hiccup in the supply of fuel will not push the price of fuel higher, the key driver of fuel price hikes is the weakening rand.
Fuel prices were already trending higher before the widespread looting and unrest that beset South Africa a couple of days ago. The Rand-US dollar exchange rate spiked at one point from 14 Rand 35 to nearly 14 Rand 80 since the 12th of June. And really, it's the increase in the value of the dollar against the Rand, in other words, the weakening of the Rand against the dollar, and this subtle increase of the oil price over the same period.
There was some concern that the unrest and arson on the main highways between KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng would lead to shortages at fuel stations. Added to which, SA Petroleum Refiners in Durban, which supplies 35% of South Africa's refined fuel, had declared force majeure and told its retail customers it wouldn't supply fuel until it was safe to do so.
It had an impact on the delivery of goods. It didn't have a major impact on the delivery of fuel in the sense that there were reserves in Gauteng to cater for that. And hopefully now that it's been reopened, normal procedure will return where goods, fuel and other cargo is delivered according to plan.
South Africa has another challenge. Diesel is used extensively to move goods and materials around the country.
Road is probably about 90% of all land transport in South Africa, and that relies on diesel. And even our trains, because the overhead electricity cables are often stolen, rely on diesel.
The price increase will have a material impact on the country's economy.
So any big increase in the diesel and in the petrol prices has a big bearing on the South African economy. So we expect a 5% increase to have a 0.2% increase in the total inflation rate directly, indirectly another 0.2% over the next year or so.
This latest in the series of fuel price increases is going to affect everyone, from consumers all the way to manufacturers and suppliers of goods and services. It's going to increase the price of everything. I'm Angelo Coppola for CGTN in Johannesburg, South Africa.
We will take another quick break. The sports news is up next in just a moment. Welcome back. A glaring COVID scare continues to loom over the 2021 Tokyo Olympics as 48 hours ahead of its scheduled launch on Friday. Barely 2 days before the games are set to officially open, the coronavirus is still stealing much of the show as more athletes test positive for the virus in the Olympic Village, holding a massive bubble of athletes from different countries taking part in the Summer Games. Safety rules are stringent and involves rigorous testing for anyone connected to the Olympics. Athletes who have come in contact with positive cases are required to test daily and stay in quarantine. The Gambia is represented by a host of athletes, including Africa's track queen Gina Bass, who is looking to set new records and scoop more gold in several sprinting events. Well, good luck to Gina Bast and Team Gambia. Before we end this newscast, a quick look once again at the top stories. President Adama Barrow has joined prominent Banjulians and several other Muslims at the King Fahd Mosque in Banjul for the Eid prayers. General Ahmad Nasser Al-Raisi, the Inspector General at the Ministry of Interior of the United Arab Emirates, has arrived in the Gambia to familiarize authorities with his bid for Interpol's top job. The Gambia Navy has launched search operations to recover 6 boat machines and over 50 fuel gallons stolen from the Gunjur fish landing site. Over 100,000 doses of the Johnson & Johnson single COVID vaccine donated by the U.S. government have arrived in the Gambia, fulfilling President Biden's pledge earlier this year to support poorer nations. A glaring COVID scare is still looming over the 2021 Tokyo Olympics, 48 hours ahead of its scheduled launch on Friday. Mali's interim president Colonel Assimi Goïta, who retook power in June after leading a coup in the second less than a year, is safe after what his office has called an assassination attempt. Plus, a cholera outbreak in Nigeria's northern state of Jigawa has killed at least 30 people since May, according to officials. Well, that's it for this edition of the news at 2200 hours. Thanks for watching. Have a pleasant evening. Until then, I am Mohammed Njai. Enjoy the rest of our interesting programs.
Let's enjoy this happy day.